I'm going to take you through a few examples of how you can blend clips together using opacity settings and blending modes. So to follow along, go to Working Files, Projects, and open up 1206 Opacity Blending. We have no sequence here yet. I want you to make one. We're going to make one using one of these background looping clips. Let's just take a look at them. Open up the icon view. This is a full screen one there. And these guys are not so much full screen in that they're just taking up part of the screen, although that's black there, that's not transparent. Same is true for that. So we're going to start by having this one be the main background. So I'm going to drag it down to the new item icon to create a new sequence like that. There you have it. And we're going to add the other two clips to the sequence, but I'm going to switch back to the list view first. Let's just take a look at this. I'm going to expand the view like that and pull this down so I don't have to deal with all those audio tracks there because we're going to work only on video. This one clip here, it looks like this. Changes colors throughout. And if I were to lay down a copy of it next to it, it would loop into the next clip. All right, now I want to put this one on top of it. It's the same length anyways. There you go. That one covers it up. Now it covers it up because that's black though. It's not transparent. But we can make it transparent if we want to. We can put a crop there to do that. And I want to put a crop there just to show you what the difference between dealing with transparency and dealing with black. So I'm going to go over to Effects and go down and get crop from my little color correction group. You can just type in CROP to find it if you don't have this group. Drag it over to this clip on top. I'm going to crop it by going to Effect Controls, clicking on the word crop to make the handles active. And we'll pull down the top. So we'll make the top transparent, but we'll leave the bottom alone. So it'll be opaque down here. All right, now it's time to play with opacity and blending modes. You adjust opacity and blending modes with the clip on top. So make sure that's active. I go to the Effect Controls panel, and you're going to find the blending modes inside the opacity group here. So open up opacity. We can deal with opacity or blending modes. First of all, opacity. Let's just drop opacity and see what happens when we do that. So you see the black now revealing the clip below it, and also how the gold or yellow color mixes now with the green below it like that. That's opacity, which I expect you probably already had a pretty good idea about. Let's go to the blending modes. Now, blending modes are these mathematical calculations where you look at the pixels, you look at the color and the luminance in the pixels, and there's some kind of a calculation that goes on so that you blend the pixels with this one with the pixels below it in some fashion. The ones on top here look at black and keep it black. They do not make black transparent. So whatever thing you do here, this black will stay black, but it will blend these two guys together, and the transparent area, of course, remains transparent. That'll be untouched. But I do want to show you that where it's black, those top five guys will not look through the black. They just will look at the colors. It looks pretty cool as you go through them. If you go down to the next group, these five here, they will show through the black. The lighting will make it just disappear altogether. You see how the top and bottom look exactly the same, basically, like that. So some of these guys basically make black disappear for the most part. Screen, same thing, more or less disappears. Color dodge, similar. And keep on going down here. Linear add, which all these guys let the black show through. And so do the first two here. Overlay. Notice how it still kind of covers it up a little bit. Soft light, similar, makes it a little bit darker there, but still shows through the black. But these hard lights, vivid light, linear pin, those five down here are very much like these five up here. They cause a kind of an extreme look, but make the black stay black. All right, like so. And we'll go on down here to difference. It looks at the difference between one color and the next. So this is black, so it makes it white essentially, makes it transparent. That's why it shows through so nicely there. And other guys like so. I don't understand all the mathematics, but I think you get a sense of how it works. Divide, you're dividing by 0 here, so strange things happen. Look at that. Whoa. Because black is 0 in terms of luma. And then hue looks at just the color, so black has no color, so the hue is grayscale. Similar for saturation. And similar for color. And finally luminosity. It looks at brightness, and so black has no luminosity, so it just covers it back up again. So those are the various kinds of blending modes. We'll go back to normal. You can blend 3 clips or more together. So let me add that third background clip. Number 3. Put it on top like so. It looks like this. Hit 2 loops if I were to make a duplicate of it. So there are black areas there, and we want to blend it with this one below here. So I'm going to click on it and make sure it's normal for the time being. And click on this one. Now if I drop the opacity on it, you begin to see how they blend together. You'll see the gold guy coming through there, and this, remember, is transparent there. Might be kind of confusing to keep that on, so I'm going to turn off crop so you just see only the clip below. The clip below is just that clip, and the clip above, when I go back to normal on it with 100% opacity, is that clip. Okay, let's take a look at how this guy blends with the one below it. Now remember, the one below it's got that bar, so it'll be kind of interesting to see how this works. So if I go darken, just remember that down here there are black bars. And so black bars, when used darken, make everything black. So even though it's the clip below that's got black bars, it'll make everything black where those black bars are for all of these 5 things here. Not quite the same thing for the hard light though. If I go down here to the hard light, there is some blending here. Then you can see how lighten works differently. Lets things go through where there's black. Basically, it makes black more or less transparent, depending on which one of these guys you select. So that's all those 2 blend together. If I click on this one in the middle and make it a different blending mode, we can make it screen, for example, then you can see all 3 things can blend together, depending on what you select. All kinds of possibilities. Now, the one little drawback to blending modes is that they're not keyframeable. You don't see a little stopwatch there. You can't sort of go from one blending mode to another. The way around that is to cut a clip in 2. So I'm going to take the razor tool over here, or the C key to get that one. I click in here, and now the second half, for example, I'm going to click on selection tool to change it back. I can make it active there. I can change the blending mode for the second half. So I can let that be, let's say, linear burn like that, or something maybe a little more obvious like linear light there. So I go from there to there. I can switch from one to the next, but I can't keyframe it. If I want to gradually dissolve from one to the next, that won't work. If I put a cross dissolve there, it just jumps like that, just like this. The cross dissolve will have no effect when you've got clips that have one blending mode going to the other. That's just one way that dissolve works with blending modes. So that's blending modes and opacity on those background clips. Let's take some real world examples of working with clips that you might shoot. So we'll go to the 2 flower clips here. Add the first one, like so. There you go. And let's put this purple one on top, like that. There we go. Now I want to somehow blend them together. Well, I've got this one on top selected. It's active. I can go to opacity, reduce its opacity, and have them blend together. That's one way to kind of do a cross dissolve, by the way. You can do it within the clip like this instead of at the edit point. And you go back and forth between the 2 of them, or blend the 2 together like that. Go back to 100%. Now if we do the hard ones here, the dark ones, it tends to look kind of weird. I'm not so sure this works well with flowers, right? Maybe that one does if you want to do something surrealistic, but the rest of them kind of just don't work very well. The lighter ones, though, do. They do blend together nicely. They're the purple flowers showing underneath this yellow flower. There you go. A little friendlier look to it there. Go down to overlay, similar. Just makes it a little bit darker, but puts them together. So that's kind of a blending mode for them. Let's move on down to the next group here. I've got the scenic shot of the Matterhorn here. I'm going to put it down on video 2 like that. Now I want to take the time-lapse version of the Matterhorn and put it below it. Just so you know, the one below it looks like that. Turning off this little eyeball here to toggle the track on and off there. Putting it back on. I want to blend the 2 together, so I'll pick the one on top. Drop the opacity on that a bit and see how that works. Kind of works, doesn't it? That's not so bad. If I start using a blending mode on the one on top, put spec 100%. Blending modes, I'll go down to lighten because those let them work together. Yeah. You might kind of go, this is not really working too well, especially when you have nature like this. Blending modes sometimes just don't work that well. Let's go back to normal and opacity. Drop that down. What you can do here is that you can adjust the motion settings, the scale, for example. So let's say I want to move the one on the bottom a bit, so it's a little better placement here. So I'm going to click on motion. I'm going to slide it to the right a bit. But notice what happens. Its edge makes some obvious problems with the clip above it. This is the clip above it. That's the clip below. So that doesn't really work if you want to move a clip around like this. So if you are going to adjust the position of a clip like this, you need to increase its scale. So let's go over here. We can increase scale this way, or we can just drag the edges here to do that so you can lay it up like that. If we want to just move it that way, I think we've got that worked out. Click on the one on top now and do the same thing. Click on its motion and move it around now. Maybe scale it up a little bit like so. The 2 can blend together in a friendly way. Let's just decide how much we want to do of both. Like that. So that's how you can use opacity with scale to blend 2 things together. So I think you get a sense now of how you can use blending modes and opacity to put a whole bunch of clips together, any number of clips, as long as you just let it blend all the way through or have the opacity change throughout all the clips.